So today we're going to talk about a couple different things. Welcome to the call, by the way. My name is Carl Judd. I am the LBA's regional national trainer. So before we get into special election periods, which is what today's call is geared toward, I do want to give you some times and some dates of when certifications will be opening. Okay. The 2025 AHIP is going to open on June 24th. If you have not done AHIP yet, do not do it until the 24th. That way you're not spending double money. Okay. And I know we had talked about that the last call, which I think was 2 weeks ago, right? So that's why I said don't spend the double money because these are coming out soon. So AHIP 624. And then I'm going to start running down some companies. Some we work with, some we don't, and some don't really matter. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and give you guys just everything that I have because I get information from the carriers because I know them all, right? So United Healthcare is already open. 6-8 HCHS opened on the 18th. It opened today. Florida Blue Cross and Blue Shield opens on the 24th. So it's the same day as AHIP. Devoted Healthcare opens the next day, 6/25. Zing, which we do not work with currently, that I'm aware of, opens on 6/25. So if you're contracted with them, 6/25. Aetna, one of the big carriers, 6/27 is their opening date. Humana will open July 2nd. Anthem, which is kind of like the Blue Cross for most of the rest of the country, except for Florida and a couple of other states, is also July 2nd. WellCare will open on July 16th. And then Cigna just says they're going to open on the first week of July. I haven't seen a date on that one yet, but probably my guess would be the second. They'll probably run with all the other big guys. So I'm going to run through that quickly one more time, just so everybody has it, because I saw Ronnie just joined. I want to make sure you have those dates. So AHIP opens on 6/24. United Healthcare 6/8. HCHS is 6/18. Florida Blue Cross is 6/24. That's only the Florida Blue Cross. Devoted is going to open on 6/25. Zing 6/25. Aetna 6/27. Humana July 2nd. Anthem, which is basically Blue Cross for the rest of this, well, most of the rest of the country, July 2nd. WellCare July 16th. And Cigna will be sometime in the first week of July. So that is what you should plan around, right? Because starting next week, since the certifications are opening or have been opened, I am not going to want to confuse you guys and get you overwhelmed with training and have to do all this stuff and AHIP and everything else, right? So what the plan will be is the whole month of July, we're just taking off. Matter of fact, we're very close to it already. So since there are certifications that are open, that are some of the bigger ones, or that are going to be opening next week, I'm not going to burden you with an hour worth of training on stuff, and then you have to go back into certs and spend 4 or 5 hours on that. Okay. I don't like to overwork folks. So just anticipate, let's say the next 6 weeks or so, that we will not have training so that you guys can get all that stuff done and focus on it. And if you're not contracted, to focus on contracting. Okay. So that's kind of the game plan for where we're at. Connie, if you would be so kind, since I saw you writing down, would you mind putting those dates for the carriers in the chat so everybody has it? That would be amazing, and I would appreciate that very much. So, um, today we're here to talk about special enrollment periods, right? And so these are times like right now, right? It's not annual enrollment period. It's not the open enrollment period where they get that one chance to redo what they've done. Um, it's it's any time or any time period that a Medicare recipient is eligible to sign up for a plan that is outside of the normal time frames, right? CMS.gov has a full listing. I'm going to talk about some of the specific ones and why they're important. Last couple weeks, we kind of went over the basics again. We started talking about dual eligibility and some chronic plans and things like that. And those have their own special enrollment periods. So I'll kind of bypass that a little bit because we already have that recorded. Um, but there are other special enrollment periods that you guys really need to be thinking about, right? So if somebody moves even just from one county to another inside of a state, that makes them eligible for a special election period, right? And it's move. The reason for that is, and we see this a lot in larger Medicare populations, so like Florida, Texas, Jersey, some of the really condensed areas where there's a lot of Medicare rep represented. Um, if you're in one county and move to the next, the plans are different and the benefit packages are different. So that's why they offer a special election period, even if you're just going from one county to the next. So move is definitely one of the ones you want to pay attention to, especially if you know your clients are going to be, relocating. Um, it doesn't have to be to a different state. It can just be to a different county. So I want to make sure that that was clarified on that special election period because we do see that one quite often. Another special election period that is pretty well used um, outside of moving, outside of the chronic plans, outside of the dual eligible would be somebody who is aging in, right? They're turning 65. So let's talk about that one for a second, because that confuses a lot of agents. You have basically a 7-month window, right? I know in your AHIP it says 6, right? But you can enroll somebody, let me say that differently. You can sign someone up as early as 3 months prior to their 65th birthday, the month of their 65th birthday, and 3 months after their 65th birthday. So that's a total of 7 months, right? Now, when will that policy go in effect? That is a very complicated answer. It depends on a couple of things. If it is prior to their 65th birthday, then it will be the first day of that month of their 65th birthday. So let me give you an example. Let's say that I'm born in October, which I am, right? So you count 3 months back from that. So 10, 9, 8, 7. That would be the month of July. I can get signed up for Medicare, right? But my policy will not start until the 1st of October, no matter what day of the month my birthday is. That would be true for any time prior to 65. You can do it as early as the month of their birthday. So what happens the month of their birthday or after, right? So if you do it on their birthday month, if you meet with them the month that they're turning 65, then your first option is going to be the month after. So we always want to try to catch the people that are turning 65 a little bit beforehand so that they can have their coverage starting the month of their birthday. Otherwise, they're going to get pushed to the next month. So in my example, if somebody met with me on my birthday, which is October 19th, then I would have to wait for my coverage until November 1st because the application wouldn't go in until October. So the agent probably should have reached out to me in September and done an application so it would have started on 10/1. Okay. And that's true for the months following as well. So you got October and the November, the December, all those will go to the first of the month. Um, yeah, the first of the month following the time that you put the application in. So it doesn't matter what day you put it in. You put it on October 1st, it's not going to start that month, it's going to start November. You can put it on October 31st. It's still going to start November 1st. Now, those of you who have been doing this for a little while are like, well, wait a minute. It takes about 2 weeks for them to get their stuff. Yes, but it will retro back. Their coverage will be effective November 1. So if you meet with a client on the last day of the month, they have an enrollment period or an enrollment for the first of the next month, then let them know. Look, you may end up getting some bills. You may end up um, needing to go back to your physician's office or whatever um, before you get your or after you get your cards because you won't have your cards for about 10 days. And sometimes it turns into 2 weeks depending on holidays and things like that, right? So um, that doesn't mean their coverage is not in effect though. So even though the company is like processing that coverage, it does backdate to the first of the month. And so give them that sense of security that, look, I know it's the end of the month. It's okay. I'm going to get this application in right now. And so because it's time stamped for, we're gonna keep playing in October. So even though it's timestamped for October 31st, which means you'll have a November 1st, let's say you get sick, you go to the hospital, you go to urgent care, or you need to see one of your specialists or what have you. Tell them that you have just signed up for a plan and that plan will come into effect on the 1st, but you will not have your cards to give them until they are received in the mail. And then you can come back and give them that information so that they can bill it properly. Okay. Um, you'll find that a lot with people that wait to the last minute to try to do things. Or if you get caught where you're at the end of the month finding a need to enroll somebody. So somebody moves mid-month and they don't call you or you don't get a hold of them until like the last couple of days of the month. You'll find that you'll have to explain that to the client. Like, hey, don't worry, it's okay. You're gonna have coverage starting on the 1st. These plans are pretty much automatic, right? There's no underwriting. The only exception used to be ESRD, and now that's gone away. So there's nothing stopping this plan from going into effect. But I do want to let you know that you might not have your cards on the 1st. I don't want that to stop you from receiving care, right? So we want to make sure that the client feels comfortable in what they're doing. And if you find yourself in that situation, please do explain that to the client so that they have that sense of security, right? Now, we're talking about special enrollment periods. When we're talking about annual enrollment periods, that's January 1st. Um, you really don't have to have that conversation because they probably understand it's January 1st anyway, right? But when we're talking about special enrollment periods, um, these are the events or conditions that allow somebody to sign up outside of the normal enrollment periods. So I already told you about moving. Another one, which is very active right now, a lot of states have um, this SEP, it would be disaster, right? So, like right now, Connie, almost the entire state of Florida has the disaster SEP, and that's good all the way until August, which puts you right up against um, open enrollment almost, right? So that's really fun. A lot of states have that. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but I can tell you that if you were if you are needing a special enrollment period, one of the ways to find out if the disaster one is open is to go to cms.gov, or actually, even better, go to Google, put Medicare disaster and the state, and then scroll down until you find the cms.gov version of that, right? You're going to have some ads that you have to scroll past, but there will be a website that is cms.gov/disasters or something like that that will show you what is available in that state. As a matter of fact, if I recall properly, you might even be able to search the state once you get into the proper site, because CMS website is pretty large. So that's the easiest way to get in there and find that. But the disaster website is usually based on timeframes, and it usually comes from a time when they should have been able to sign up, but something happened that prevented them. So, like during the COVID period, that was all special enrollment periods, right? When we came out of COVID, there was a long period of time where people were able to sign up. Florida had some things going on, and so now there's a special enrollment period for all of Florida, basically. Um, what else did I see that was big? I think Texas has got a lot of stuff. I think it's Sprout. Uh, that's made for a large number of people that are able to sign up for Medicare Advantage because they have that disaster special enrollment period. So those three are really big, and it's important to understand, well, one, that they're available, right? And two, how to use them, right? So the move in disaster, that's going to start the very next month, right? So if you meet with somebody today is the 18th of June, right? Their coverage would start July 1st. That's outside of the normal time that people are able to usually switch their plans. But these special enrollment periods allow people to make those changes if they need to. Um, there's some crazy ones out there too. So don't think that when you meet with somebody um, that you're ever going to probably not be able to help them, right? There are things that allow people to change, like somebody just went and got out of jail, incarceration, right? That's an SEP. A lot of people don't realize that. Um, and so, not that I'm telling you to go to look for people who are criminals, right? But if somebody happened to have been incarcerated and they come out and their needs have changed, or you meet with them, that's a special enrollment period, right? How neat is that? So CMS has got that. You can go to cms.gov and search the special enrollment periods. There is a list, I want to say, of about 18 different conditions that allow for a special enrollment period. So I won't go deep into all of those. I talked about the ones that are really important to understand. Um, but here's the fun part about that, right? As as I've been trying to teach you guys, most agents that are in these bigger organizations, they don't do a lot of work during this time, right? They pretty much just take this time off. again, which is why I'm not going to train you guys for the next, let's say, 6 weeks, because I want you to take that hour that you would have spent with me. And if you don't have somebody to go talk to a nursing facility, go talk to a 55 and older community, go talk to somewhere where you can start getting ready to build business, because here we're at the mid part of the year. And this is the cycle of how Medicare works. So now we're kind of going away from SEPs, and I want to tell you why the cycle works the way it does, right? So most people stop working after OEP. They used to stop after AEP, which was amazing, but they opened up OEP, and most people stop. They take a break. They've made a good amount of money, and so they take some time off, right? We keep working, right? Because we want to get relationships built. And so I've been teaching and teaching and teaching. Go into the 55 and older communities, go into anywhere who houses them or takes them for the day, and try to build relationships. This time is critical to do that. So instead of spending an hour with me, go on Google and find a little map for senior centers, for 55 and older communities, and places like that, and start getting your face known, start having conversations about upcoming annual election period, and possibly doing some seminars for 2025, right? Because we know every year Medicare changes something, and every plan changes something, right? There is never going to be a year where everything stays exactly the same. It will never ever happen, right? So, one cool thing for you guys is that you guys all got a raise. I'm not sure if you knew that or not, right? Every application that you guys write, instead of having to do the HRA, they're not going to pay that anymore. But what they are going to do is they're going to put an extra $100 in your paycheck that comes directly from CMS. So that's awesome, right? So I think of people like Ronnie, who is like, oh, 13 in a day, an extra $1,300. That's awesome, right? So cool stuff coming for you guys as far as how you guys get paid, but it's a cycle, right? So right now, where we are in that cycle is we are in that turning point from, okay, we have kind of focused on dual eligible. We kind of did the chronic plan folks. We took care of all the people that did it during last AEP. Now we're turning the corner, which means that we need to start brushing up on what's happening for next year without forgetting to focus on this year, right? So this year can be challenging because you've got all your certifications to do, you've got AHIP to do, right? There's a lot to get done. And my advice is contract with as many carriers as you can. That way, when you go into your Sunfire app, you don't just see a couple of plants. You see everything that you're able to sell, right? And so when you sit down with somebody and you say, "Hey, I can take care of anything that you need," you're not lying to them, right? Now you could probably do that on the med sub side because those are really easy to get contracted for. It's like a 1 day thing. Medicare Advantage, you got to get certified, right? So that can take a little bit of time because of contracting, then the certification, and usually that's like a week and a half, 2 week process, if not longer for some carriers. So here's where we're at in the cycle. Whatever carriers that you do not have contracts with, and Connie, thank you for writing all that stuff down there. Um, Especially the big ones, and I'll point those out for you. United Healthcare, Aetna, Humana, Anthem, WellCare, Cigna. Okay. If you don't have all of those carriers, this is the time where you should be focusing on trying to get contracted and certified with them. We get our contracting, we get our certifications done. We're in June, July, right? In August, we're going to start training a little bit again. I might do it every other week because what really should be happening is for those of you who have been with us and have already built clients, you're going to start reaching out to them and booking appointments for the first 2 weeks of October. Okay. Because you're not allowed to submit applications for the first 2 weeks of October, right? So if you already have clients, why not take that time to go ahead and focus on them, make sure they're happy. You have the first looks and you're able to show them come October 1st. So if they need to change, you know you need to come back, right? But if you don't need to come back, you've already taken care of them in that first 2 weeks. So once we hit August, you should be fully certified with the carriers that you're going to have. Your AHIP is done. And now your mind is focusing on two things. Let me make sure that all the clients that I have already enrolled are going to be happy. So let me book appointments to make sure that they are good. Now, here's the little golden nugget, right? I like to throw those out once in a while. If you have a client that you've built a rapport with and you signed them up on a plan and you've been kind of following what I teach you, which is do what makes the client feel the most, I don't want to say loved, but taken care of, right? There's nothing wrong with asking that client to maybe expand and help you, right? So for example, and Connie, since you're the picture I see in front of me, I'm gonna use you as my example, okay? So Connie, the new plans and all the new information for 2025 is coming out. First of all, how did your plan go last year? Oh, it was great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Great. I just want to let you know, hey, I'm still your agent, right? And I'm going to continue to be your agent. Listen, the 2025 information is coming out, and I want to make sure I take care of you first. So I'd like to book something the first week of October. Okay. What's a good day for you? We're booking that appointment, right? Now, can I ask a favor of you? Every year I do this. In the first couple weeks, I really want to make sure that I have everything tightened up in my mind on how these plans are working, what's available to people, and to be able to answer questions for people that might be new to me. Do you have any friends that are your age that might want to sit down and maybe pound me with some questions? Or you see what I'm doing here? I'm getting referrals from those clients in their home, right? The only thing you need to do is make sure you fill a scope out for all of them, right? This is why I'm a big paper person. And I know electronic is easy, but I'm telling you, a good piece of advice, carry a stack of scope of appointments that are printed out, generic ones. That way, when you do something like that and your client, like if Connie were to say, oh, heck yeah, I live in the villages. So I've got 20 couples I could bring over here. I'd be like, Connie, I appreciate it so much. As a matter of fact, I'm going to bring some snacks and we'll just make it a little party. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over any of the changes for 2025 for big Medicare. And then we'll talk about your plan specifically. But if anybody has any questions about their plans, I want to be able to help them too, right? And we might even have to change some of their plans, right? So we could do all that at one place. So I'll bring some snacks, maybe a couple of drinks, and we'll just make it a fun time, right? Now, you see how that works, especially if you're set up for a senior center, if you do it in a 55 and older community, right? The people that you didn't catch this year, you'll catch then because once you make a great impression on somebody and a friend says, hey, come talk to my buddy Carl, that goes a long way. The trust is extended from the friendship or the relationship. that you have built, right? So again, don't be super aggressive about it, but just, hey, would you mind doing me a favor? And if their answer is no, then hey, no problem. Um, I'm just going to ask you to make sure that you try to question me as much as you can, okay? Um, and while you're at the home, say, okay, great, you did good. Feel like I answered everything. Feel like I really don't have everything down pat just yet, though. Do you have any friends that I can go visit? Right? So we're always looking for that referral. And that's why this time of the year is very important, right? We want to focus on taking care of those people, and making sure that first 2 weeks of October is going to start booking out with appointments for them that you've already taken care of. And then from October 15th all the way through December 7th, these should be people that are new to you, not necessarily new to Medicare, new to you, right? So if somebody from one of those first 2 weeks says, hey, go talk to this person, okay, great, just have them call me, right? Otherwise, you got to fill out a whole big scope and or a contact card. But if you have people call you, that gets rid of all that stuff. Or hey, can you get them on the phone real quick and let's set this up, right? As long as you don't make that phone call, you're good to go and you're compliant. But do kind of push for those referrals at all times. Okay. The other thing, so now we're working on certifications. We're working on AHIP. We're getting through the rest of this month, the month of July. If you're going to take any time off, this is probably a good time to do that, right? And let your families know that, look, October's going to be right around the corner. I'm hoping that I'm going to be really busy, between all the different places that I'm talking to and the clients that I need to visit, right? So if you do what I do, and I'm a monster, right? So don't think that you have to do this, but if you really, really want to dig in and go after it, you start looking at Google Maps and you make a 5 mile radius for all the different places. And once you visited them, you get a 10 mile radius, and then a 20 mile radius, and then a 30 mile radius. Okay. Once you get out to 50 miles, that's a lot of driving, but that's a lot of people that you can see. Okay. So imagine if you're in, Connie, where are you at again?
I'm near Sarasota in Florida.
Sarasota. Oh my word. I can't imagine
Bradenton.
how many assisted living facilities, um, senior centers, 55 and older communities are probably endless where you're at, right?
Yes, that is absolutely true. I just sold a mobile home to a guy who is the marketing director for a big assisted living and skilled nursing facility.
Right. And so your 10 mile radius might be all you need for all open enrollment. It could be,
Right.
right? Ronnie, where you're at,
Washington
you're in
State.
Washington State, right? So
Yeah.
what city are you in?
Auburn,
Auburn. Not super familiar. Is that rural or is that real city like or what? Tell me about that
city
area.
like, city like.
Okay, so you probably are going to run into the same situation, right? I know Florida is really condensed, but 5 mile, 10 mile, 20 mile, start making those relationships, start talking to those different facilities, right? And you might find that you have booked yourself all the way out. So here's what I recommend. If you're brand new and you have no clients to see, right? Because I see a couple of names here that um, have not really been submitting a lot of business, right? So I know that there would be a little for you to do for the first 2 weeks of October. Well,
Marietta English is one.
I'm sorry.
Marietta English is one.
There you go. So now I'm going to tell you what you should be doing. Okay.
Okay.
So what you should be doing is you should be taking that first 2 weeks of October to run seminars. Okay. So that's
Okay.
where that 5 mile, the 10 mile, the 20 mile, that's where those bubbles come in. And that's why it's important. And that's why I don't want to overwhelm you guys with training right now, because I want you to be out in the community and talking to the different facilities about doing a service for the seniors, which is doing a Medicare 2025 seminar. Now,
Okay.
if you're brand new, guess what? I have made this so easy for you. We have 4 pages that I've created, right? And if you've watched any of my videos, I probably reference it every single video, right? About this 4-page sales system. Page 1 is a seminar. That's all
Ah,
you have to do for an educational seminar, right? So while you're doing your AHIP, your certifications, and you're going out, it's also time to be perfecting page 1, right? I have short videos on that are like 7, 8 minutes, and I have hour-long videos where we talk about it like I'm talking with a client. But what you want to do is you want to be able to go through page 1 without having to look at it. So what page 1 is, for those of you who are new and maybe not know what I'm talking about, is a breakdown of Medicare. Now, I have a page 1 that's got some not 2025 numbers on it because those haven't even come out yet.
right.
Okay. Once you do the AHIP, or once you start doing a couple of the certifications, you'll start seeing those 2025 numbers. Okay. And so take the page 1 that I have created. It's really more of just a template for you, but make your own with the correct numbers, right? Which you can do very easily in PowerPoint, or take what I have and, make your own numbers in there. And then you have a template that you can, and I usually refer to it as just do it in PowerPoint, because if you do it in PowerPoint, then you can bring a laptop and throw it up on a TV or a projector if they have it. A lot of places, especially like senior centers, will have a setup like that because they have people that come in and do training, or they have people that come in and tell them about some of the benefits that they have with Medicare, right? Um, or like in a 55 and older community, they might have like a clubhouse where they have a TV that's set up for people to hook into. What better place for you to be able to do that? And if you already have it in PowerPoint, guess what? It's just one thing. You don't have to worry about clicking buttons. You don't have to about doing anything except for just having it up on the screen. Okay. So here is here is my advice from right now until you get to October 1st is you want to focus on learning page 1 perfectly, right? Practice and practice and practice page 1. And if you don't know where to go to our website, the LBA website, go to where the media and resources, and open up page 1. That's all you need for a seminar. Okay. If you learn page 1 and you do these seminars, then you have already created an atmosphere where you are the expert, right? You are the person that they're going to ask questions to, and that's exactly what you want. How I start and end every seminar that I do for page 1 sounds something like this. Hi, everybody. My name is Carl Judd. I am a licensed insurance person, but more importantly, I am a broker of many different products. So when I'm talking to you guys, I try to to keep things both specific and generic at the same time. I'm going to be generic because I don't want to talk about any one specific plan in the open because everybody has a different need. But I'm going to be specific about what's changing for 2025 for overall Medicare. Now, if anybody wants to talk to me afterwards, I'd be happy to do that with you and see what your specific plan changes look like. Okay? That's how I open my seminars. And then I'll go right into page 1. As I close my seminars, I'll say, okay, everybody, that's what 2025 looks like. As I mentioned at the beginning, I work with basically every insurance that's out there. So if you need my attention, if you want to sit down with me for 5 minutes, or if you want to book a later appointment, I'm more than happy to do that with you. I'm going to leave some business cards up on the table here. I'm also going to have some kind of contact cards that are made out. So if people feel like they want me just to call them later, that I can do that. But I'm also going to say what I do need to do is this is what's called an educational seminar. So I can't just start talking to you about any plan specific. What I do need to do is put this stuff in my car, maybe take a break, go to the store. And if anybody needs me to come back, I can do that in about an hour. Okay. So, are any of you interested in me sitting down with you today? Just show of hands. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to pack my stuff up. I'm going to leave like CMS tells me I have to. I'll be back at this time. And then if you feel like it looks like there's a lot of people, if you feel like maybe a different day might be better, please grab one of these consent to contact cards and fill it out, and I'll call you and we can schedule an appointment. Okay. So I know we went from, okay, special enrollment periods, right? What do you do right now to, hey, future planning for October, but you have to do all of that right now. So this is one of those really weird periods of time in Medicare where there's a lot going on, right? So where are your priorities? Priority should be this: AHIP as soon as it opens. Now I'm going to tell you this, just like I tell everybody, if you take the AHIP and do not pass it the first time, please, please, please do not keep trying. Stop. Just stop and contact me. Okay. Let's talk. Let me see if I can find some training aids or something to help you. But generally, the people who call me, as a matter of fact, 100% of the people that call me that have not passed the first time, pass the second time. Okay. So please don't keep going. If you fail 3 times, guess what? You cannot sell Medicare for 6 months, or you have to pay for um, another go. I think they changed it where you can pay for it again, and then you get 3 more attempts. But if you fail those, you're done, right? I saw you coming off on that, Ronnie. But why spend the extra $125, right? So if you fail the first time, please, please reach out to me. It's hard to get a hold of me via phone, right? So don't try to call me, text me and say, hey, I need some time with you because I need this, right? And I will do what I can to help you. I'll ask you a few questions, and it'll probably be a fairly short phone call, but I'll give you what you need to help you. Okay. I just need to know where you're at, where you're falling short, where you don't feel comfortable. Okay. Um, so priority 1 is AHIP. Priority 2 is starting to knock out your contracting if you are not contracted with a company. So let's say that you're contracted with United and Humana and Aetna only. Well, now it's time for you to contract with Cigna and the other companies that you need that are in your area. So how do you figure that out? Go to Medicare.gov, go into Find Plans, get rid of the little pop-up that pops up, type in your zip code, and then look at the plans that are there. If it's a major company, like one of the ones that we talked about today, for the certifications that are opening up, you probably need to contract with them. Okay. You can't certify with them until you contract with them. So AHIP is first priority, contracting is second, getting through your certifications is third. And then while you're doing all that, start at least looking at your 5, 10, 20 mile radius and start going. Please listen to this. Please, please heed this. Do not call the facilities. Do not make it a phone call. Go to the facility. I can't stress that enough. I feel like I need to say that again. Go to the facility and say, hey, my name is, shake a hand, look somebody in the eyeballs, and get a personal contact there. A phone call is going to be dismissed. There are way too many agents that are out there right now that will do that. They will make a phone call and say, hey, my name is John Smith and I work with Premier Insurance and we're looking for places that we can help people with Medicare and the changes of 2025, and I would like to come out to your facility and do that for you. Well, what makes your phone call any different than that, right? The personal touch is really important. It might not even hurt to bring a box of candy or maybe a box of donuts or something like that, right? To just let them know that, hey, I'm a little bit different than your average person that's coming out there because I'm doing it in a personal way. These little things that I'm telling you are going to set you apart from the other agents that do what we do. I promise you, right? I've been doing this 20 plus years. Sorry for the background noise. Been doing this for over 20 years. I can't tell you how many times that I have, and I become friends with the people who are in these facilities. I can't tell you how many times that the people in the facilities have told me, man, I get bombarded with phone calls from all these agents. And if they don't come to talk to me, they don't even have a chance, right? And why I let you come in here is because you make it personal to the clients. You always do what's right for them, right? And that's what you need to get to, right? And that's the end goal. So that's why we start doing that now in the month of June for something we're going to do in October, right? Because we have to build rapport with these people. Don't think you're going to just go there once and that's it, right? Go there once, make an impression, and then keep following up. Hey, by the way, did you have, so you do this in June, you call them in July. Um, hey, Judy, I forgot to ask you. I know I'm coming out in October, right? I put down on my calendar, I'm going to do a seminar on October 4th. Do you guys have like a calendar? You do? Oh, okay, great. Can I be put on that calendar? Is that okay? So people know, right? So I found a reason to call them the next month, right? Do things like that or go back and visit them, either way, right? But start the contact and continue the contact all the way until October, right? Find ways to dig into that facility or that complex or whatever you're looking at, right? Same thing goes for doctor's offices, right? Now, you might not be able to do a seminar at doctor's offices, but you're going to want to leave materials, right? We have materials in our website that you can just put your card on, right? So, same thing. Go into doctor's offices, say, hey, my name is Carl Judd. I help people with Medicare. I want to know if I could leave some literature for the 2025 year in your lobby, right? So now is the time to start building those relationships and those contacts and everything else. So you're not running around in October like, what the heck should I do? I know it's open enrollment and everybody should be enrolling, and why am I not doing anything? Well, it's because you got to get that pre-work in there so that you stay really busy. And I promise you, if you do this right, if you really put your heart into it, you'll be so busy in October, November, and that first week of December that your family's going to be like, hey, what's up with this? Right? I have gone as far as going to a different state and staying the entire time, minus the 4 days for Thanksgiving, um, for a whole open enrollment. And why have I done that? Because I built such a relationship with doctors groups that they wanted me to actually sit in the doctor's office. You might find that same situation if a doctor doesn't have an agent that is doing well for their patients, right? But you're not going to go in one time and expect that they're going to offer that to you. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope, right? We got to build out those relationships. And right now is the time to do that. So again, I know that there's a lot going on. There's a lot that I'm kind of prepping you guys to do. So that's why we're going to hold off on my training. If you want the stuff that I train on, most of what I have to teach on is already recorded. You can go into our video library and look. Page 1, 2, 3, 4 is on there. How to work with dual eligible, chronic, special enrollment periods, marketing practices, all of that stuff is already there for you. There's PowerPoints, there's recordings. You don't need me right now. What you guys need is to go out and start building relationships. You need to get your trainings done, and you need to focus on trying to get to October so that you can start really making that big impact for open enrollment. Okay. Now, does that mean you're not going to write people right now? No. Right? When you make those contacts, one of the things that you're going to say, I know we're running a little bit long today. I apologize. We are going to go long today. One of the things that you should be saying to those facilities is, hey, listen, if somebody comes up to you, right? Let's say you're in a senior center. If somebody comes up to you and says, hey, you know what? I signed up for this plan. I never should have done it. You should give that person my card. There's a very good chance I can help them right now to move into a plan that they would be much happier with, right? That's why it's important to understand special enrollment periods, right? So we're not going to stop writing business right now. I know. So again, a lot going on, right? Training, certifications, trying to build relationships, not forgetting about the other people, getting referrals for the people for right now because we just made this new relationship, right? Going into doctor's office. Hey, look, if somebody's yelling and complaining about, hey, this drug costs too much or this or that or anything like that, feel free to let them call me. There's a very good chance I could help them right now, right? And I will tell you, if you call me or text me, I'll just say text. I'm going to stop saying call because nobody gets a hold of me while I'm live. But if you text me and say, hey, I can't find a special enrollment period. Those of you who have been with me for a while, matter of fact, I'm going to pick on you, Connie. Connie, has there ever been a time that I have not been able to get you to sign somebody up, even if we were outside of the enrollment period?
Repeat that again.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I think you're one of the people that have called me outside of the enrollment period, right?
Few
And
times.
say, hey, look, I can't find enrollment period.
Right.
Were you able
You've
to find one?
always been able to find me something.
Always.
Absolutely. Yep.
Ronnie, I think you might have been in the same situation, right?
And Zoe, too. You've helped me
And
a lot too,
Zoe,
Carl.
right. Yeah, we've done
Yes.
that a couple times.
Oh,
So
Yes. Uh-huh.
listen, folks, if you cannot find your own special enrollment period, right, and they're all on cms.gov, if you can't find a way to enroll them, call me. Said it again.
Yep.
Text me and say, help, I need an enrollment period, right?
Absolutely.
Um, that's that's where I really come into play to really help you guys. Okay. So
I
I
wanted
have
to make a
called,
I'm sorry. Can I make a comment here,
yeah,
Carl?
absolutely.
So in Texas, they extended one of our flooding disasters to September 30th,
Mm,
like really knocking on October. And so that's pretty exciting for me because I have a client that, oh my, actually I'm outside by the lake and I'm watching my grandson fish. and
nice.
and there's a guy that caught a really nice big fish next to us. But anyway, I just want to make one more comment too. Like a person that's born on the first, I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but their actual effective date would be the month before, right? In Social Security, when we used to do work with Social Security, that's what we would say. A person born on the first of the month, their effective date is the month before. Is
So
that something? Go ahead.
here's what I usually do. If I'm going to meet with somebody, like if it's a scheduled appointment, I'm going to ask them to have a couple things ready. Their driver's license, their Medicare card. Oh, by the way, on the Medicare card, what does your Part B say? When is that effective date? Right? That way it eliminates that question, right? Because it could go a lot of different ways, right? And also depending on if they worked or not, or if they have even signed up for Part B, because when I ask them that, and they say, well, it only says Part A. Well, now I have to ask some more questions, right? Well, have you signed up for your Part B? You have not signed up for your Part B. Okay. Well, tell me why you didn't, right? Well, I'm still working. Okay. Well, here's where I come in is I help people once their A and B is in place. So if you don't have Part B, I probably am not going to be much help for you, right? And I don't need to go to that appointment because it's going to be wasting my time. But if they made a mistake or they were trying to say, hey, look, I only make $900 a month and I live in Florida and I can't afford Part B, I can say, hey, guess what? I have a solution for you. I can help you apply for a program. In Florida, it's called the Medicare Savings Program. And so you won't have to pay your Part B, but we can get your Part B in place and we can look for specialized plans for lower income folks, right? So that's one of the things that I do is I ask them to have a couple things ready. And while I'm doing that, I ask them when their Part B became or is becoming effective, right? Solves a lot of problems, right? Keeps you from wasting time. Um, let's see. What else should I tell you guys? I feel like that's pretty much where I wanted to end my stuff. I wanted to open it up, and I know we were already past time, but I'm going to be here for a little bit anyway. So tell me what questions you guys have right now, because I went over a whole bunch of stuff, even outside of what we were supposed to train on.
I have some in the chat, some questions.
So AHIP training, yes. So here's a couple of cool things, right? Um, there's always going to be a $50 discount regardless, right? So AHIP is really never going to be more than 125, even if you just have to go through Spark. Okay. Um, however, some people, some companies, if you write enough business, they put you as a different tiered member, right? Or a certain type of producer. And so you might find that you get an email saying, hey, if you do your AHIP through our site, it's at no charge, right? Now, I'm not sure that any one of us, well, any one on the screen that I'm seeing, um, made that for the 2024 period, because that's usually, and you guys will probably see, as you get contracted, they'll probably push out some of the major companies will say, hey, if you write so many during AEP, we're going to put you as like a silver member or whatever. And the benefit of that will be you have to pay for your AHIP next year, which is really cool, right? I went, let's see, I paid for AHIP in my life maybe 5 years out of 20. So, and that's mostly because military kind of messed up a couple of my AEPs. But um, yes, to answer the question, there will be at least the $50 discount. And that's probably where the majority of us will fall. Okay. Sarita, it looks like you have a question or at least your hand raised.
Hey, good evening. All
Hey,
right, I'm in South Florida. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, and I got RTS for devoted
okay.
only. I was trying to see if I could get like another regional carrier. Um, but
Girl, you need
whenever
a lot of carriers. If you're in South Florida, you need you need a lot. You need to do, like I said earlier, right? Go to Medicare.gov, type in your zip code, and look at all the carriers, right? You're probably going to see things like Devoted, Freedom, United, Aetna, Cigna, WellCare. Um, what else is down there that's
I've met, the thing is, I am
AvMed?
already with major carriers with my employer. So I'm trying to like shun away from them and try to do my own thing.
Gotcha. Um, well, you put yourself in a weird spot. To be honest with you, right? So, um, this would be my advice. Whatever your employer has you locked up for, get
Mhm.
everything else, right? Um,
That's the
that way,
thing, because when I go to Spark, it's not opening up the regional carriers, and I keep running in circles. They keep saying, talk to your upline. Then I try to reach
gotcha.
to my upline, no one is available. So it's
Okay.
like,
So don't worry about your upline. When you have issues like that, what you need to do, for any contracting issues that you guys have, you need to send an email to Gabriel. Okay. Um, Gabriel has his email address in the new agent guide. So again, all you have to do is go to our website, look under building your business, under resources, media, building your business, new agent guide. My contact information is there. Gabriel's email is in there. Spark's information is in there. Send Gabriel an email and say, hey, look, I need this carrier, right?
uh, I did that, and I've been told to
Okay.
reach the Spark, and Spark is telling me all different things. So it's like, I'm in circles.
Okay. Send Gabriel an email and copy me on it. That way we can have a conversation.
Right.
Okay. It might be a situation where it's like, oh, so like here's a situation that that I'm aware of, right? Some of our California agents, they really want what's the name of that company?
Scan,
Uh,
scan is
no,
Kaiser.
it's Kaiser Presidente, right? Now
Yeah.
Kaiser only has their own agents. You cannot be a broker and sell Kaiser,
Yeah, I used to
right?
be with
So
Kaiser. You have to be captive.
so yeah, you have to be captive, right? So if it's a situation like that, we won't be able to do anything. But if we have access to the contract, we will. If we don't have it for some reason, we might have to go through a different avenue than Spark to get it. So that's where you need to copy me and Gabriel and I will have that discussion about where to get the contract for